super dialed way back, like, hey man, let's all hang. Let's all, uber consciousness, and the meek will inherit the earth, and let's just keep loving our hearts and just keep it all cool, brother. It's like, almost like hippie Jesus.
It is kind of interesting how all the same story told different ways with those three.
Like John, he's kicking shit over. And he's
John's like
bows in the temple.
Well, like you said, Breckheimer's perfect. That's exactly right.
But John's good because it's when he first predicts his own death.
Yeah.
The Book of John. I had this conversation with Dave Whelan. He's a producer on the Jim Rome radio show. And I said, what's your favorite book of the Bible? And he said, John. And I was like, John? Like, no one ever said that. And I had to go back and read it. And then, like, when you're alone with your Bible, like, it is oddly sad. Like, you feel like such a good Catholic. Like,
sure.
I sat at home and read the Bible for no reason.
Sure.
Now, where's the Real Housewives of New Jersey? Teresa's really turned the corner.
Hey, we never get to sing our song. Can we end this by singing our song, please?
What are you, Jeff Garland? Jeff Garland, I'm doing it live from the Improv.
Yeah.
He goes, how long are we going to be up here?
I always got a point. How long were you there? We know these podcasts.
Look, my hot dog's getting cold.
I know.
Yours, buddy.
I know, but But what about with my great song from...
I went on the Bravo Clubhouse with Andy Cohen, and Melissa Gorga had that song, On Display, On Display, On Display.
Right.
And I was going to be on Bravo, and I said, I'll go on and I'll sing that song to prove you don't need auto-tune to sound like robots fucking to make a pop song. And I'll make it like an acoustic coffee house. And they all go, and I didn't think they'd say yes, because you got to clear it. And they were all like, we own that song. Oh. That's the best idea we've ever heard. Like, oh my God, now I'm going to be on. And then the week prior, Andy Cohen goes, Jay Mohr's going to be here, and he's going to sing Melissa Gorga's On Display.
Oh.
Like I'm a guy, like I'm actual, like a John Legend, like a singer coming out.
At least you did it.
I did do it. And it was great. I took it down. I knew my limitations.
That's great.
And they brought in this guitarist to help me get it down. And I said, the louder you play, the more I'll fuck this up. So as quiet as you could possibly be,
right,
as long as you keep me in tune, we'll be fine. But as soon as you bring up the volume, the comic in me is going to want to rise above the din.
Right.
So keep it super quiet. And we sang it. I sang it. And it went really good. And then you said, do you know, what'd you ask me?
I said, I know my favorite Real Housewives song from New Jersey is Wake Up in the Morning, Worrying and Worrying, Worrying and Worrying. That's what the little girl sang.
G to the ear.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Keep going.
That's all I had. That's all she had.
We'll do that. You got to do
Wake
it 4
up
times.
in the morning, worrying and worrying, worrying and worrying. I mean, the family's looking like, yeah, man, we did screw up. Like, the kids paid the price, and yet it brought out her art, little Gia.
Are you a big Housewives fan?
No, but I've seen that scene a few times. I've seen the show a few times. I like her.
No, but I made sure someone sent me.
Oh yeah, they sent me clips of the 8-year-old girl singing.
Chuck E. Cheese ball pit. Ooh,
but I used to watch
Delish.
it. I used to watch it more.
What's your favorite town for the Housewives?
New Jersey. You mean out of the different Housewives shows? Yeah, well, you like it because they were probably all from Verona, for Christ's sakes. I didn't know you grew up from Verona.
Franklin Lakes, Wayne.
All that. That's all those Sopranos towns.
Let me tell you a little something. What town would you, Colin Quinn, if they go...
West Caldwell.
No. They bring it... Well, great wrestling in Caldwell, bro. My mother graduated from West Caldwell.
See?
Did you know that?
No.
It'd be weird if you're like, I know all about it. Jeannie, it's Colin. What time's dark and smoky start? Midnight. Let's get after it.
So what is it?
What town do you think deserves... I'm being serious. What town, if you were like the guy at Bravo, what's the next town for that?
For Real Housewives?
Yeah, like what's the missing
what town are they using now?
Well, the towns they already have set up. I'm saying, what's a town they haven't used yet that you're like, how are they missing this?
Well, I mean, they've had Nutley, I assume, right?
This is still New Jersey, Colin.
Yeah, what are you
I'm saying...
what city?
City, what town,
I'm sorry,
what state?
From New York, we're going to say town for, city. All right. I would say, for Real Housewives?
Yeah.
I guess they got down. I would say, Chicago. They do Chicago?
You think that would be interesting at all?
Chicago?
Oh, it's real cold.
Oh, yeah. They are a little friendly to do Chicago.
Barack Obama was across the state line today.
What about, they did Miami.
Boston might be good.
Boston could be interesting.
No, sir. That's not what I fucking told you, you retard, you. You told me
I think Youngstown.
Jesus. Just fucking Ray Mancini.
Oh, you know what would be a great town? Cincinnati or Columbus.
Why? That's where you're going to be performing next?
No, there's just a lot of shit going on there.
Cincinnati and C-Bus?
You know what I mean?
The Ohio State University?
Or Rio de Janeiro. What about that?
Yes. What about a show of expats, like Americans living in Hong Kong?
Yes.
And they're going to get their act together.
Idea.
What's a guy like you doing tonight?
What, England?
It's a Monday night in Manhattan. What are you doing?
I'm doing a little writing, and I'm going to be performing possibly a skit at the Comedy Emporium, the Comedy Cellar. And I have to finish this other project I've been working on. Once again, working and working, worrying and worrying. Yeah, another one of my scripts.
Why don't you and I write? What did you say?
Maybe I'll send one to Mike Myers.
Why don't you and I do a road movie together? One of us is the uptight one. One of us is the loose cannon.
I love the road movies.
I think you'd be the guy that like comes unraveled as we travel, and I'm the guy trying to loosen up. Come on.
Yeah, I once did. I came to Jim Carrey when I was. We had the same manager at the time, and I wrote up a whole treatment. You know, like a fake treatment of a Mountie movie with me and him, and I wrote this whole treatment. I typed it up and everything as if I was trying to pitch this movie to him. And made him read it. He's sitting with his girlfriend at dinner. I was like, hey, could you look at this treatment? My manager's like, hey, man, you know, the guy's eating. I go, no, but it's no big deal. And I made it the most uncomfortable thing. Is two Mounties where he's the uptight asshole, and I'm like the funny, freewheeling guy. And it's just like
yourself the starring role,
right? And he's just reading the treatment like totally, like it's like really subtly offensive, like where I'm the cool guy and he's like the. And then suddenly he just started laughing. He knew halfway through he just starts laughing because he just realized I must be busting his balls.
What restaurant was it?
Some fancy one in, in
the town?
No, the one on 59th Street.
Oh.
Fancy, the hotel. No, I always say Montreal, but it's the other one.
It's the other one.
Mandarin Oriental, that restaurant.
Oh, I think they prefer to be called Asians now.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Why do they call it the Mandarin Oriental? Good point.
I don't know. Why does Mickey Rooney dress up like an old Chinaman?
Oh, my God. But, it's like a popular hotel. Nobody even mentions that. Nobody calls it out.
Who are your favorite comics? Who's a guy when they're around you go, I like to go see this person? Because I bet your list of like 5 is way off the beaten path.
No, but I don't go see. I'm at the Cellar, so anybody that comes on, I don't have a favorite list. I just watch whoever's around. I watch anybody, it doesn't matter. I see new people that are hilarious. We're comedians, so it's like, unless somebody's out there, I feel like what I laugh at, in addition to comedy, it's like, you don't laugh, I just go, that's great. And you only laugh when you identify with what the comedian's going through. So when somebody's up there screwing around and something goes, you know what I mean? Like, I like people playing in the moment. That's all I care about. You know what I mean? Like, that's my favorite thing. Because, we've been doing it so long, so when I see that, because I know that
it's not prepared.
Yeah.
It's an exact right now, and it'll never, it's just like.
Yeah, and it's
like
just that moment.
Match.
That's the beauty of live stand-up. When somebody just says something like, what? To somebody in the crowd, you know what I mean? Like, and they go, wait a minute. And then just some moment happens. They're not even trying to do that. But just something goes wrong. And you just see that mind working. I laugh so hard. Because I feel like so connected to every comedian in that way. Where you're like, it's just this unreasonable situation. And you're just watching them process it and come back. And the only thing I hate is when comedians act like they have low self-esteem. I hate that.
I hate that shit.
Because guess what? When you're up there telling people you should be watching me, you should be watching me and paying to watch me. That's not low self-esteem. That may be a lot of things. It's not low self-esteem. And I just love watching how tough comedians really are. When somebody in the audience fucks with them. And they go, and you just see their mind working, and then they're just like ready to attack it.
They annihilate them.
You just love it.
But I think I hate what you hate too. There's 2 things I hate. I hate the like, anyway, like, oh. But it seems female comics, that's like the thing. To be the, oh, shucks, like.
Yeah, I don't believe
you either have to, like, talk about how many dicks you sucked in a row and you're covered in jizz. Right. Or you gotta go, like, I'm such a loser. My mom left me this message, and it's like.
Yeah, I like comedians that are just more or less
talk to me.
What do you mean?
No, like a comedian. Like, talk to me.
Yes. And sometimes I feel like that's a cover. Yeah. And some female comedians will be like, oh, the audience won't take that from me. And it's like, I don't believe that. You know what I mean? Of course, I'm not a female comedian, but I feel like the audience will, I feel like when you're a comedian, what you decide it is what it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You decide reality. Like you say, it has nothing to do with any other thing other than you're like, this is reality right now. But it's all you've got.
But what enrages me when I see comedy that I hate.
Yes.
You have to convince me, and me meaning the audience, that it is reality. I fucking hate a guy with a bit. Like, I hate a guy that goes up and does his act, and I know the 8 o'clock show and the 11 o'clock show saw syllable 1 and syllable 6041 was the fucking same thing. They're looking at their fucking shoes.
Right.
Richard Jeni was a guy who had 75 hours of material, and I saw him once at Caroline's, and I was in like the 10th row, and I thought, how is he not reaching me? How have we not made eye contact? And it's just, these guys are on the road so long, it's like, here are the fucking jokes.
Yes.
But Bill Hicks was a guy that knew how insane what he was doing was and how ridiculous it was. And he would say, I'm just going to plow through this shit again, folks.
Yeah.
But just that sentence, now I'm in along for the ride.
Yes.
Because I know you know.
Yeah.
There's a guy, Jeremy Hotz. You ever seen him?
No.
He does a whole thing like, he goes, oh my God, I live in Tarzana. It's Tarzan, for crying out loud. Like he's got his hand over his mouth. It's like a Jack Benny with
It's like a character.
Yeah, it's a total character.
Yeah.
And I saw him at the Improv, and I'm like, wow, this guy's killing this. You know, good for him.
Yeah.
He just but then he goes, you guys have been great. Thanks a lot. And I'm like, no, you got to stay that guy. How do you leave? Natasha Leggero was on Last Comic Stand.
Yeah.
And
She was one of the hosts. She was one of the hosts.
She was like her act is like she's an aristocrat.
Oh.
You know what I mean? But she was a judge for 10 weeks.
Right.
And then in the finale, she went and did her stand-up. But like, we just watch you go, I like the thing you did with your sister.
And
And then she goes, oh, darling, if poor people are having babies, then why are any of us reproducing at all? And I was like, no, don't do a bit. Like, that's...
Well, it's like the other thing. It's like when people, it's like when somebody does something on stage spontaneous, and then you're like, that was great. And then you realize they do it every night.
Charles Fleischer.
In the same spot. Where they're like, oh.
The old man sees the black man in the front row and decides that this is going to be his friend. Say what? And everybody's like, wow, this guy's a genius.
Right.
And then you see the same thing.
Or like they pretend, but what I mean is like they pretend like they'll go pick up a bottle and they'll go, I'm sorry, I was here with my cigarette. It's a bottle. And then they go, that would be crazy if it was a bottle of cigarette. Oh, yeah, let's... And they go into like a 5-minute improv.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, that was brilliant. And then you realize they do that every night.
Comedians of comedy.
Deliberately mess it up.
And Brian Bassane got hysterical about guys. Their opening joke is about their clothing. They always act like, what the? Hey, I don't know. I know you guys are looking at me in the shirt thinking, you know,
exactly.
like they had no idea they put it on every show.
Right.
Like, oh my God. It's like, hey, would you blow Don Ho for that shirt?
Oh, I know.
I saw Ralphie May opening for me at the Tempe, it was Stand Up Live. No, it was the Improv in Tempe. And some guy was heckling him, and Ralphie was just stay in the course, and they start to filter out because this guy wouldn't let him up.
Yeah.
Wouldn't let him up. And the guy turns to tell his friends how much he's kicking the shit out of Ralphie. And he fucking spills his beer, and like the waitress was there, and Ralphie goes, so then if you got a whole, yeah, see what happened, stupid ass? And then just kept, it was one of the best, like it's exactly what you said.
That's what I love.
And then right back into his act, but then it's almost like you put a hole in the wall that everyone can flow through with you.
Yes.
Crack the cup.
I feel like exactly that. I feel like one of the things I love the most about any stand-up that really is doing it is you see that survivor. You see the survivor, and the audience loves it too. When it's just like you're up there, and if I don't care who it is, the baddest, crazy, when they attack you, and you're like, hey, fuck you, you're speaking for the whole audience. The whole audience is like, yeah, I want you to tell that guy to fuck off. Yeah, he's bigger than me, he can kick the shit out of me, but you're the comedian. Fucking kill that cocksucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you do it, it's beautiful.
Is there anything more fascinating than when Otto and George pick someone out to take apart? Is there anything more so psychologically fascinating to watch that unfold? Because you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. But you have to see him a few times to realize, that's the person.
Yeah, because Otto the human.
Yes.
Listen, if you haven't seen Otto and George, go to YouTube and find Otto and George and say Jay Mohr sent me, Colin Quinn sent me, let us.
Yeah.
Nothing's funnier than Otto and George.
No.
But when he decides to pick on someone in the audience, Otto's the person. That's what's confusing about the actors. You always assume Otto is the name of the puppet, like Willie Tyler or Lester.
Exactly.
And
you can't tell which one has a better personality because Otto's kind of bland and George is kind of wild.
George is he's a maniac.
Yes.
Otto has to identify who the person is subtly while he's doing a straight man shtick with the puppet. Yes. And then while he's talking about something completely different, like it could be, you don't know how long it goes by, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Yeah. You see the puppet turn his head towards that person that George made a mark like a minute ago. Yeah. And the puppet will go, "Are you Chinese, miss?" But he's not even looking over.